Okta lifting its full-year adjusted earnings forecast after topping first quarter estimates. However, the company says it's taking, quote, a prudent approach to guidance amid a challenging macro environment. Here to discuss is Okta co-founder and CEO Todd McKinnon. Todd, it's great to see you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me on, Julie. It's great to be here.
So, Todd, I'm really curious to get your sort of temperature check on that macro environment. You know, we have been talking a lot about Salesforce today. We've been talking about the enterprise spending environment. What are you seeing in your business?
I think there's definitely some headwinds in the macro environment, particularly if you compare it to a couple of years ago where the environment and spending and scrutiny of deals and so forth was quite frothy. I think we're seeing a more measured approach now, particularly in our business in the small and medium business sector. On the positive side, though, in the large enterprise sector, we're seeing good momentum. The $1 million plus cohort of customers is our fastest growing segment of customers, and it's been that way for a few quarters now. So I think there's some economic prudence and measured spending environment, but overall, we're seeing pockets of strength as well.
So Todd, if the macro's kind of choppy here, how are you all responding? What levers are you pulling to navigate that?
Well, there's all kinds of tactical and executional things, and it's lost on this. I think the companies that can do well in this kind of environment are the companies that are good at just down and dirty execution. They're good at communicating with customers. They have good customer relationships. They're selling basic things that work and provide value for customers. And we're trying to get that back to basics playbook and doing an effective job at that. And then also you have to be providing something that's going to be valuable despite what's going on in the broader economy or what's going on in the tech trends of the moment. So right now everyone's figuring out what they're doing with AI, and guess what? Identity management plays a role in AI. We're the login for OpenAI's ChatGPT. And all of these new AI services are going to need login, and they're going to need security, and all the new tools that enterprises deploy to their workers are going to need great security and great login. And we're going to be right at that nexus between people and technology. And so we're very relevant in any environment.
So, Todd, you guys did raise your forecast, but a lot on the street are calling it conservative. How hard and fast, I guess, should they take that forecast? Can they expect potentially some upside?
Well, we look at it in both terms of length. So in the short term, we're being prudent. And we think that given some of the macroeconomic choppiness, our guidance is prudent, and it's justifiably so. But in the long term, we're very bullish. We think that the entire tech market and the entire identity management market is a massive market. Every company needs identity for their employees, for their customers, and they need to make sure it's all secure. And more, identity is the key to security. And so in the long term, we're very bullish on our total addressable market opportunity and our ability to address that over time.
Todd, I got to ask you if you think there's been any kind of lingering fallout from that October security incident, because it sounds like, Todd, what you're saying is, no impact to the installed base. I'm wondering if you think, though, there's been any challenges because of that to acquiring new business.
Yeah, we're one of the most attacked companies in the world, and because of the critical role we play in the technology ecosystem. And every month we block about 2 billion cyber attacks against us and our customers. But in October, we did have an issue, and we're working really hard to make sure that we address the concerns customers have. And more importantly, on a go-forward basis, we're leading the industry in the fight against these kind of identity-based attacks. We call it the Okta Secure Identity Commitment. And that messaging is really resonating with customers because they want a vendor they can trust, but they also want a vendor they can learn from. And as we go through the process of hardening our corporate infrastructure, making sure our products are secure by default, our goal is to be the model that every customer will expect of all their vendors. And we're off to a good start, and we're dedicated to continuing on this journey to make sure we're the most secure company in the world.
Just to push on that, though, Todd, listen, you all have competition. It's Microsoft, it's smaller vendors. I'm just curious whether you think that breach gave your rivals, your competition, an opportunity there to capitalize.
Well, I think competitively, it is very important that we execute well and that we differentiate from the competition. I think a couple of things we have going for us there. One is that some of the competitors you just mentioned have had their own breaches, and just demonstrating that how difficult it is when you're a prominent leader in an industry, how much you have to focus on it to stay robust and secure. And then also just how the hardening process that goes through something like Okta, being an industry leader for years and years and years, how robust and secure the company that's been tested can demonstrate and come out at the end of it. It's pretty differentiated, especially from competition that's smaller or more of an upstart that hasn't gone through that hardening, and we're seeing that resonate with customers as well.
Todd, I know most CEOs we speak to say, "Oh, we don't pay much attention to the stock price," but it must be somewhat frustrating.
They're lying.
To come out, yeah, exactly. It must be frustrating to come out with these numbers. You see the stock drop. You guys are down a little more than 2% year to date. What do you do in a situation like that? If they're lying? Tell us what you're thinking about it.
I mean, you do have to think about what's going on in the business that's contributing to that long-term journey and that long-term path. I started Okta 15 years ago, so there's been a lot of ups and downs. And I take a step back and I think to myself, in this last quarter, we signed a very significant deal, 7-figure deal in the public sector with part of the U.S. Department of Defense. And I think to myself, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, imagine signing something like that. And it really keeps you grounded in what's possible over the long term. And although you do look at the stock price and you definitely rather have it go up than go down, you can take a step back and see big milestones like that. You get excited for the next 15 years.
Todd, thank you so much for taking the time to join the show today. We appreciate it.
Happy to be here. Thank you.